All right, so blockchain, right? Everyone always talks about how anonymous it is, but is that really the whole story?
Yeah, well, there's this company, Arkham, and their white paper is making some pretty bold claims.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. They're basically saying that anonymity on the blockchain, it's not going to last.
Right, like transparency is the future, no more hiding.
So we're doing a deep dive into Arkham today.
Yeah.
Really trying to unpack their vision and what it means, for all of us.
Definitely, it's going to be wild.
So Arkham lays out like these 7 key ideas, right? About how this whole transparency thing is going to play out.
Yeah.
What was the one that like really jumped out at you?
Okay, well, one that I thought was super interesting is that they think this whole shift towards transparency could actually make the crypto ecosystem healthier.
Yeah, well, interesting. How so?
Well, think about it. Fewer scams,
Right.
more accountability. They think if you can actually track and trace transactions, it'll like scare off the bad guys.
Right.
Make it safer for everyone.
So it's like that whole idea of sunlight being the best disinfectant.
Exactly. Like everything out in the open, less room for shady stuff to happen.
Okay, I like that.
And they go even further. They're saying that all this self-regulation, powered by transparency, could even mean we need less government oversight.
Oh, wow.
Which is a pretty bold statement for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so that's their vision, right? A transparent blockchain future. But how do they actually make that happen? What is the Arkham platform?
So they're building all these tools that let you kind of dive deep into blockchain data.
Okay.
And like uncover all the hidden connections.
So like detective work, basically.
Exactly. It's like blockchain detective work.
Okay, I'm listening. I'm intrigued. What kind of tools are we talking about here? Like, is this something that I could use?
So they have this AI engine. It's called Ultra. It connects all these anonymous blockchain addresses to real-world entities.
So they're like building this big database of blockchain identities.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, they've already mapped out millions of labels and profiles.
Yeah. Okay. So then what do you do with that information?
Well, they have some really cool tools. One is called the Profiler, and it's kind of like having X-ray vision for the blockchain.
Okay.
So you can see like an entity's entire history on chain. Their holdings, their transactions, even their profits and losses.
So like their whole financial statement.
Yeah, but it's even better than that because you're seeing like the actual movement of funds.
Oh, okay.
Not just like a snapshot in time.
So it's more dynamic.
Way more dynamic. Like it gives you a level of insight that you just wouldn't get with normal financial analysis.
Okay, so what else? What else is in this blockchain detective toolkit?
Okay, so another one is called the Visualizer. It maps out all the relationships between different entities, and it's visual, so you can see how everything's connected. Pretty cool.
So you can actually trace the flow of funds, like from one wallet to another?
Exactly. And then there's alerts, too.
Alerts.
Like real-time notifications. So say some crypto whale moves a ton of money. You can get an alert the moment it happens.
Well, that's handy. But I mean, isn't all of this kind of information already out there? Like, what makes Arkham different?
So most of the analytics tools out there only look at one chain.
Okay, right.
Arkham pulls data from multiple chains.
Oh, so you get a much bigger picture.
Much bigger picture. And their filters are really good. You can find exactly what you're looking for, like a Google search for the blockchain.
Oh, nice. Okay, so they've got this platform, right? It's powerful, lots of information. But how do they think people will actually use it? Like, is this just for the super hardcore crypto people?
So they're actually building this decentralized marketplace. It's called the Arkham Intel Exchange.
Okay.
And the idea is that anyone can buy or sell valuable information.
So like a bounty system.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like you could say, hey, I'll pay X amount of ARKM, that's their token, for information about this suspicious wallet.
Interesting. Wait, but how do we know that the information's even accurate?
That's a great question. That is what they call the intelligence oracle problem.
The intelligence oracle problem.
Yeah, it's like, how do you verify information that you can't even see beforehand?
Right. It's a good point. So how do they solve that?
So right now, Arkham's doing the verification themselves, but they want to make it decentralized eventually.
Decentralized verification. How's that going to work?
Well, they're exploring some really cool stuff, like zero-knowledge proofs. That's where you can prove something's true without revealing the actual data.
Whoa. Okay, so that is some next level stuff.
It is. It's like straight out of a spy movie.
Totally. Okay, so wait, there's more, right? There's this data program.
Yeah, so that's how they're getting the community involved. Like anyone can contribute information to Arkham. Could be labels, entity attributions, even data sources.
Okay.
And if it gets approved, you get rewarded in ARKM.
So it's like crowdsourcing blockchain intelligence.
Exactly. And it's not just about the rewards. People actually want to contribute to this whole transparency thing.
Wow. So it's like a movement.
Yeah, kind of. It's pretty cool.
It is cool. Okay, so they have the big vision, they have the platform, they're building the community. What's the missing piece?
Ah, you're talking about the ARKM token, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is it just a currency? Or is there more to it?
So it is a currency, but it's also designed to like incentivize people to use the platform
Yeah.
and contribute.
Okay, how does that work?
So you can earn ARKM for doing things that benefit the ecosystem, like submitting data or referring new users. And if you hold or pay with ARKM, you get discounts on Arkham's services.
Oh, discounts. Okay, now you're talking my language.
We're talking up to 60% off.
Wow, okay. So we've covered a lot here, right? Arkham's vision, the tools, the community, the token. They're not playing around.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in. They're really trying to shake things up.
They really are. And that brings us to a pretty big question for all of our listeners.
What's that?
If all this blockchain activity becomes transparent, what does that mean for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is a lot to think about. A fully transparent blockchain, I mean, that's a pretty radical concept. Kind of exciting, but I don't know, a little scary too, right?
Yeah, it's understandable to be a little apprehensive. We're talking about a big change, in how we think about privacy, about finance. It challenges a lot of our assumptions.
Totally. And Arkham seems to get that, right?
Yeah.
Like they talk about all the good things about transparency, but they also admit that, there are trade-offs.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I think one of the biggest concerns has to be privacy. Like, what happens if every single transaction is linked to a real person? What does that mean for our freedom? Can you imagine, like, your whole financial history just out there for anyone to see?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, having all your bank statements up on a billboard or something.
It's a little creepy, right?
It is. So where do you draw the line? Like, how much transparency is too much?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it's something that Arkham and really the whole crypto community is going to have to figure out.
And what about security? Doesn't this make people more vulnerable? If everyone knows who has what, doesn't that make them a target?
Yeah, that's a huge concern. I mean, think about it. Someone can connect your identity to your crypto. Suddenly, you're a much bigger target for hackers.
Right, exactly.
We could see more scams, blackmail, who knows?
So it almost seems like the more transparent things get, the more important security becomes.
It's a bit of a paradox, yeah. And it really highlights how much responsibility Arkham has, They're not just building a company. They're basically proposing a whole new way of doing things. And security has to be a top priority.
It's not just individuals, right?
Yeah.
Like, what about businesses? Governments?
Totally. I mean, imagine the corporate espionage, right? Your competitors can see every move you make, all your financials, everything. And governments could use this tech for surveillance, tracking financial flows. I mean, it's a powerful tool.
Yeah. Powerful for good or for bad, I guess.
Yeah.
It all depends on who's using it and what their intentions are.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to be talking about all this now. While this technology is still developing, we have to think about the consequences, good and bad.
And try to put some safeguards in place, right? Before it's too late.
Exactly.
It's like we're at this crossroads. The decisions we make today about transparency, they're going to have a big impact down the road. Exciting and scary all at the same time.
It is. But it will be fascinating to see how Arkham handles all this. They seem to understand how big of a deal this is, and they're asking for input from the community, which is good.
Yeah, that is good. They're not just saying, this is how it's going to be, deal with it.
No, they're actually engaging with people, which I think is smart.
It is smart. So this whole Intel to Earn thing, the data program, it's all about getting people involved, right?
It is. It's a very different approach.
And they're being open about the challenges, like that intelligence oracle problem. They're not pretending they have all the answers.
Exactly. And that's so important. Building a sustainable, ethical blockchain ecosystem, it's going to take a lot of collaboration. You need different perspectives.
It's almost like they're trying to democratize blockchain intelligence.
Yeah.
It's not just for the experts anymore.
I like that. Democratize. That's a good way to put it. They're lowering the barriers to entry. Anyone can be a blockchain analyst, contribute to this whole transparency thing, maybe even make a living from it.
Yeah, it's a really interesting experiment. And whether you like it or not, you have to pay attention. Things are changing.
Yeah.
The blockchain is changing. Transparency is becoming a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, the days of the blockchain being this shadowy, anonymous world, they're over. It's becoming more transparent, more accountable, more a part of our lives.
And that's something we all need to think about.
Yeah.
So as you're exploring the world of crypto, the big question to ask yourself is, am I ready for a transparent future?
Because it's coming, ready or not. And the choices we make today, they're going to determine what that future looks like.
I mean, it does feel like we're at this tipping point, right? Like things are about to change in a big way. A transparent blockchain, the implications are just huge.
Totally. And it goes way beyond the technology itself. It's about how we think about privacy, financial freedom, even our digital identities. It's like everything's up for grabs.
Yeah, it's like we're rewriting the rules of the game.
Yeah.
But here's a thought. Are we even sure that everybody in the crypto world even wants this transparency thing? I mean, wasn't anonymity supposed to be like a core part of blockchain in the first place?
That's a really good point. There's definitely a big chunk of the crypto community that believes that anonymity is like this fundamental right, that it's essential to what blockchain is all about.
Yeah, they argue that financial privacy is crucial, right, to protect people from like overreach, censorship, even persecution.
And you can't really argue with that logic. I mean, history is full of examples where financial data has been used to control people, to oppress people. So it makes sense that some people see transparency as a threat.
So how do we balance these two things? Transparency and privacy, security and freedom. Seems like, I don't know, an impossible puzzle.
It's a tough one for sure. And I don't think there's one easy answer. It's probably going to be some kind of mix, right? We'll have both transparent and anonymous elements in the future of blockchain.
Right, so maybe we'll see some tech that allows for more like selective disclosure. You get to choose what you reveal and what you keep private, kind of like a privacy dial.
I think that's definitely possible. There are already projects working on privacy-enhancing tech, zero-knowledge proofs, things like that, to give users more control.
And maybe we'll have different blockchains for different needs. Some prioritizing transparency, others privacy.
Yeah, a multi-chain future, right. Choose your own adventure. Find the blockchain that fits your values.
It's interesting to think about. And we can't forget about regulation, right? Governments are going to have a big say in how this all plays out. The balance between transparency and anonymity, a lot of it will depend on what they decide.
Oh yeah, regulation could be a huge factor. We could see rules that force transparency for certain types of transactions, but allow for privacy in other areas. It's going to be interesting to see how it all unfolds.
It really is uncharted territory. I mean, blockchain is still so new and it's changing so fast. Exciting and kind of scary at the same time.
Totally agree. But that's also what makes it so cool, right? We're literally seeing a whole new technology being born, and we get to help shape it.
And that's where you come in, dear listener. We want to hear what you think. This vision of a fully transparent blockchain, is it something you're excited about, worried about? What are your hopes and fears?
Yeah, let's have a conversation. Leave your thoughts in the comments, share your questions, and let's explore all this together.
And of course, don't forget to subscribe to The Deep Dive for more deep dives into the tech that's shaping our world. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss an episode.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into blockchain transparency. It's been a wild ride.
Until next time.